Hi, thanks for joining for the posture mobility flow. This is for week 6 to 12 of the program. So this is good to do, you can do it daily, but at least a few times a week. It's great to do after nursing or bottle feeding or holding your baby for a while, or really just as a general mobility flow. We're working kind of whole body here, so we're gonna do some with the hips, as well as working upper body, thoracic rotation, and getting in some scapular stability here. So it's a great posture flow to do really anytime. You should feel good during all these movements. If you have any pain or just something doesn't feel right, I would recommend stopping doing the exercises and reach out to me, or you may need further evaluated if that pain continues. Okay, so we're going to start in a hands and knees position. We are going to go through 5 different exercises, starting with thread the needle thoracic rotation. So you're going to reach underneath one arm here. You should feel a good stretch in the back of the shoulder, and then you're going to rotate open through that mid back. Okay, inhale down, exhale, rotate open. Rotate as much as you can. Many women are stiff in this area, that mid-back postpartum, so you may not be able to rotate too far, but hopefully the more you work on that rotation, go ahead and switch sides. It will get better and start to feel a little bit better and feel like you can rotate open a little bit more. If you find yourself compensating through your low back, I recommend hinging back, sitting your butt back towards your heels. That can help bias that thoracic spine a little bit more to take out some of the motion from your low back. So if you're feeling it more in your low back, then you're probably compensating with the mobility there. So again, rocking your butt back towards your heels can help that. So just flow through this. It should just be a good opener, good mobility here. Okay, and now we're gonna go into chin tuck head lift. So you're gonna lie down on your back. This is great if you experience any neck pain or tension, really just for anyone. We all need more of the strength of our front of our neck with all the sitting and looking at our phones and computers that we do. So you are going to, if you have a ponytail, or just grab your hair if it's long enough, this is gonna make it easier. You're gonna tuck your chin. So try to make almost like a double chin. Tuck your chin, and then you're gonna lift it ever so slightly. Okay, so my fingertips barely slide underneath my head and then come down, okay? You can add an exhale with this to get the deep core as well. So inhale, exhale from the bottom up, tuck your chin, lift the head. My hand here is helping out a little bit by grabbing my ponytail. That's going to make it easier. Tuck your chin and lift. Okay, so keep going there. Chin tuck and lift. You should feel this deep in the front of your throat. And again, just a slight lift. I don't want you up here. That's not going to give the results that we want. We want to strengthen the deep cervical flexors in the front of the neck. Chin tuck and lift. Again, ever so slightly lift. You should barely be able to fit your fingers, your hand to slide underneath there. Chin tuck, lift up. You're probably only going to be able to hold for a second or two to start. But this one is a great one to practice and try to hold for longer, okay? So then without that, we're gonna do a few more. Chin tuck, lift my head, so no longer holding onto my ponytail to help out. I also don't want to see your chin tilt up towards the ceiling, so I'll demonstrate a bad rep here. My chin goes up like that, we don't want that. Keep that chin tucked as you lift it. Chin tuck, head lift. One more here. And there. So, great one for any neck tension or pain. We're gonna switch over to working a little bit of hip mobility here. So, hands and knees again. Bring one leg out to the side. We are rocking back, adductor. Also, some people call them hip flexor rockbacks. I like adductor rockbacks because we're working those adductors, inner thighs here, in a dynamic mobility exercise. So I always love a dynamic movement rather than static stretching. You're just rocking back as much as you can tolerate. If you had any pubic symphysis pain or continue to have it, in some cases this might irritate that area. So if it does, please don't push through any pain. Just hold off on doing this exercise here. But it should feel like a good hip opener. A lot of times we carry tension or tighten these inner thighs, switch sides. And you're gonna rock back. So again, butt back towards my heel, keeping a neutral spine. I'm not arching or tucking my butt under. And I'm feeling a good dynamic stretch through the leg that's stretched out here. And just breathe normally as you go through this. Do a couple more on this side. Okay. So we're gonna switch to hip cars, controlled articular rotations. Basically the goal here is we're gonna do one hip at a time. The goal is to get all the motion from your hip. So you're gonna bring your leg up. I'm not arching, don't do that, hold here. Then you're gonna rotate that leg out as much as you can, slowly, and then bring it up into hip flexion, hold for a pause, and then back to neutral. Then we're gonna reverse that. So hip comes up into hip flexion, out to the side into hip abduction. Then we're gonna get some internal rotation as that knee turns down to come up back to hip extension here. Okay, and we're gonna reverse that. Oh, sorry, come down. We're gonna reverse up, rotate out into external rotation, abduction, then bring that hip slowly up to hip flexion, and then back in, and again. Flexion, out, external rotation, and down. Do 2 more on this side. This is a great one to make sure that you're using all of the available range of motion in your joint. Last one here, if you come back. Slower is better, so don't rush through this. We're gonna switch to the other side. Again, comes up into hip flexion, out to the side to abduction, external rotation. You're bringing that leg back up into hip extension and back down to neutral and reverse. Bring that leg up, out, to the side and up into hip flexion and down. So again, the goal is to not let your hips and pelvis shift too much. Try not to compensate by opening up and kicking your low back in. All the motion we want to come from that hip joint because we're trying to use all the available range of motion that we have and work in all planes of the hip, all the ways that the joint can move. That is how we keep that motion. As we age, a lot of times we get stiff, but we want to maintain that good joint mobility so that our muscles around the joint can function properly. One more time here. If you're really stiff, you might have a hard time with this. So go slow, just do what you can. Okay, last exercise, I have a foam roller and a band. If you just have a band, that's okay too. We're gonna do wall slides, working the serratus anterior muscle. So I've got the band, I'm actually gonna bring it up above my elbows here. Foam roller on the wall, I'm gonna assume kind of a plank position here. Forearms, okay, I'm gonna even reach through my toes a little bit to activate the front of my abdominals. Keeping tension out on the band. I've got my pinky side of my hands in contact with the foam roller. And then I am going, starting at shoulder height, and then I'm slowly going to roll the foam roller up the wall, reaching, pushing into the foam roller, keeping tension out on the band. And I'm coming back down. Inhale. Exhale, keep core engaged as you roll up slowly. If you find yourself tensing your neck, make sure you can kind of pause at different angles. Make sure you're and side bend your head. Make sure you're not keeping too much tension in those upper traps. And then also make sure you're pushing into the foam roller, Don't go up so high that you start to arch your back, okay? We want to keep our rib cage down and in so that our core stays activated here. Maintaining that tension on the band, gently pushing into the foam roller, really engaging that serratus as we come up. A few more here. You should feel a burn in the muscles surrounding your shoulder blade, even a little shaky maybe if you've never done something like this before. So keep going there if you've got your foam roller, and if not, I just want to show you a variation you can do if you don't have the foam roller. So same thing with my band. I'm going to walk up the wall. Okay, again, keeping my core engaged, not letting my low back arch. And you're just going to do that same thing, wall walks. Okay, make sure you get in up and down, tension out on the band, pushing into the wall. You're going to get a little bit more rotator cuff here with the band around the forearms, so you can always bring the band up above your elbows as well, and again, gently push into the wall. So, that is your posture mobility flow. Tried to do about 8 to 10 reps per exercise. That's what we were focusing on there. Hopefully you feel good, feel like you got your hips moving, worked on some posture and upper body. That neck should all be feeling good. So if you have any questions, please reach out. You can always hit replay and start this all over and do it again, or do it on your own. You can find all these exercises individually if you have any more questions about form. I have individual videos on all of these, and if not, then replay this, do it again, or do it again another day, and I hope this makes you just feel good.